Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope y'all had a fantastic Christmas. Welcome to episode 77 of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. Speaking of Christmas, my family and I were able to have a great one, even though we had to scale it back due to the rising COVID cases and regulations put in place. But, all in all, it was still awesome to spend it with immediate family. Got a great gift from my son. He gave me the Classifieds book, Off the Beaten Path. Hopi and I were talking about it here on previous podcast, which I already have 3/4 of the way done. I highly recommend anyone who wants to read about the career of one of Canada's greatest artists, man, do so. This book is awesome. I'm still so grateful that he allows us to use his beats for our podcast. The guy is just so down to earth and first class. Like my play on words there. Anyway, thanks, Luke. On to this week's guest, and we sat down and chatted with University of Wisconsin alum and Canadian Olympic Bronze Medalist Kelsey Harshman. Kelsey has had a fantastic career to date. She played collegiately at the University of Wisconsin, helping the Badgers to back-to-back NCAA Tournament appearances in 2017 and 2018. She started in every single game throughout her 4 years, setting school records in all-time runs, on base percentage, and consecutive games on base. She was the first freshman at UW to be named to the All-BigTen team, as well as first 3-time selection to the All-BigTen team in school history. She was also named to the 2017 All-BigTen Defensive Team. Kels made her debut with the national team in 2015 as a member of the Canadian Junior Women's National Team at the WBSC World Championship in Oklahoma City. Since then, she's represented Canada at multiple international events, including the Olympic Games this past summer in Tokyo, where they took home the bronze medal. We're going to talk to Kels about getting her start in the game, the influence her mother and aunts played in her development, or her time with the Badgers, of course, the bronze medal win in Tokyo, and much, much more. Kelsey was an absolute pleasure to chat with, and I'm definitely looking forward to what she has in store moving forward with everything she does. So as usual, grab that drink, sit back, relax, because here we go.
I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes.
All right, here we go. Kels, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course. This is so exciting. I think this is actually my first podcast.
Is it really? Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, that's great. How are things down in sunny Arizona today?
Honestly, it's actually pretty brisk down here right now. I'm looking at the thermometer. And it's saying about 55 outside right now, and which is, it sounds a little crazy. It's probably warmer to some people, but
yes,
out down here. But yeah, the last couple of days it's been a little chilly, but when you're out in the sunshine, it's not feeling too bad.
Yeah, I just looked at our temperature outside right now here in Fahrenheit. It's 28, feels like 18. So
ooh, that's a little bit.
The old good Canadian weather going on right now.
Yeah.
So what's been on the go for you lately? Understand there was a wedding of some sorts?
There was, yes. My husband and I went through the whole COVID thing that a lot of the 2020 couples, want to be went through. And so we ended up last year, November 6th, 2020, we had a very just small wedding, and we were really bummed because we wanted people to celebrate. And then unfortunately, with everything going on last year with the border, my Canadian family was unable to make it last year. So I was really bummed about that. So we decided to kind of do the party and reception this year on the exact day. So exactly a year later. And it was a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw pictures of it. It looked a lot of fun. Did you have like DJ set up? What was it? What was the setup?
Yeah, we had a pretty good DJ. He's one of our good friends, Buddy, and little did we know he's like on the up and coming, like in Tucson, and we've like seen him at like other festivals and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy played at our wedding.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it was a lot of fun. Beautiful day. It was really great to celebrate with a lot of people, and of course, see people. That was the first time I had seen my Canadian family since the qualifier in 2019 when I had got engaged.
Wow.
Which was, I know. So it was crazy. It was a long time coming.
Holy cow. That is a long time, man. That's crazy. So I got to ask, because I asked other teammates of yours when they've been on since the Olympics, has it sunk in you're an Olympic medalist?
I think when I am kind of out and about, and if we have like the medal with us at events, like for example, 2 weekends ago, we were in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship football game, and the Big Ten was honoring the Tokyo Olympians if you were a Big Ten alumni.
Right.
And I think that is kind of when it like really set in of like, holy cow, like I was a part of something really cool. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to kind of be around the other Olympians who went through, the same ups and downs. And, through this Olympic experience, there was tons of downs because of everything that had gone on from 2020 and on. And so I think being around them really kind of hammered it in, and then just kind of reliving the experience, but like through other sports, right? Like it's so great to be able to chat about the experience and all that stuff with, your teammates, but to hear from like people who were, in the pool, and people who, were, on the track, and it just was like, wow, okay, yeah, we all did something actually really, really cool.
Oh, absolutely. How cool was that Big Ten ceremony? Because there was a lot of people there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was awesome. They put us up in the quarterback club and treated us really great. And then to be out, standing on the, an NFL field, that Colts Stadium is beautiful out there. And it was a truly special moment to be able to raise my medal. And it was quite funny because the other Olympians that I was with, most of them represented the USA. And so when we were walking off, everyone was chanting USA. And then a couple of the guys behind me would be like, USA and Canada. And I was like, thank you. There we go.
Yeah, nobody would think, there's a Canadian amongst even though you grew up in Arizona. I know. It was quite funny. So I think then, like, now I just kind of feel, I don't want to say different, but it just is, being able to kind of relive that there was definitely really special, and just really showed, we did something. It was really, really awesome, and it's super awesome to be a part of. And there really was, even though it didn't feel like, people were watching because there was no one in the stands, like there really were just so many people tuning in and rooting for us, which was so amazing to feel that when we got home. Oh, absolutely. Well, we have a little thing that we like to kick the podcast off with. We call it quick pitches. I'm going to throw out some random questions for you, and just a little something to break the ice, get us going, and
I love it. Yeah.
Before we start into your career. So, first one, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being really good, how would you rate your karaoke skills?
Oh gosh, like 1.
Really?
I am so tone deaf. It's so embarrassing. Yeah.
See, I like to think I'd say I like to think I'm around a 4 or 5, but I get a couple drinks in me, and then I think I'm a 10. So I mean,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably like that for a lot of people.
For it. Yeah. I mean, I will go for it, but there is no belief in me that I think I sound good, and I know I don't.
That's awesome. Biggest thing you miss at University of Wisconsin?
Oh, football Saturdays. Gosh, it is just such an elite atmosphere out there, and just how we wrap athletics with a great education and all that stuff, and then to be able to like be out there just standing in Camp Randall and jump around after third quarter, it is probably just like one of the best moments about being a Badger.
No doubt. Best thing about growing up in Arizona? The weather.
Yeah, I was gonna say being able to be outside. Like I was outside this morning doing some hitting right at like 9 a.m. and there's not a lot of people who can say that they're outside in December, prepping for, we've got a camp coming up. So that is pretty exciting.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Best place you've ever vacationed?
I was 2021, 2017, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I went to Hawaii for the first time with my family for Christmas.
Nice.
And it was truly, truly an experience out there. I'm like itching to get back because my husband's never been. So I would definitely say we were in Maui. So it was awesome there.
Yeah. I mean, we've had Kama on the podcast here, and I mean, see the picture she posts every day from living down there, and you're like, oh man,
I know,
that'd be amazing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Besides this year's Olympics, most memorable moment in your career?
Well, internationally, it had to have been, qualifying for the Olympics when we had lost to Mexico. It felt like there was like so much defeat, and everything that we had worked for, like we weren't going to be able to achieve, but it just meant we had to turn around and, play Brazil the next day and, really bring it to them and play some of our best softball. And I think, when Rafter hit that walk-off home run to secure the run rule, and just like being at home plate, and I just like watching the video of me just like jumping around like in the surf, cuddling Rafter. I'm like, What am I doing? I'm not even like looking. I'm just like so mind blown that like, after kind of everything, we did it. And I think just being able to like rebound after that and still come out and play some of our best softball is definitely one of my moments that I really treasure.
Awesome. Out of all the athletes and limited players, who surprised you most by how good they were?
Ooh. Man, I got to give a shout out to my girl, Carrie Everly. She was my roommate, my, rock at AU this year. And, she's kind of like dark horse, like totally shredded it up at, Oklahoma State. And then being able to, compete against her a little bit with Team Canada when she came and played against us in Marion. And I was like, man, this is like, truly an elite drop ball. And then at AU, being able to be on a couple of her teams and being able to live with her. I mean, she is just, a true force to be reckoned with. She's like, nope, I want the ball. Let me get it. I'll throw all 7, and, I will dominate. And she did by finishing in that top 4. And as a rookie, it was truly, truly impressive. And, it was awesome to play beside her, throughout this last season.
Oh yeah. She has a bright future ahead of her for sure.
Oh yes.
Yeah. 2 more here. If you had to eat one food for a whole week, what is it?
Can it be like a type of food? Or it's got to be like super anything. Yeah. I'm a sucker for some good Mexican food. Living down here in Tucson, we get some really, really good, like authentic Mexican food, and tamales, tacos, chimichangas, like you name it, and anything that anyone who comes and visits, I'm like, what are we feeling today? And we've got our places down here that we go and get tamales get tacos, but I'm definitely a sucker for some carne asada tacos.
Oh, so jealous. I love, I could live and die off soft tacos. Like, I love tacos.
It's so good. Yep.
Oh man, you get authentic ones.
Yep.
we get the box ones up here in Canada.
Yeah.
or Taco Bell, but they're not really tacos.
Oh gosh, Taco Bell.
Yeah. All right, last one.
All right.
Out of all the Marvel movies and series, which one's your favorite?
Oh man, I'm a sucker for Marvel. Sorry, Randy, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my mom was trying to call me, so I was trying to send her to voicemail. Yeah, I would say, Avengers Endgame is in my like repertoire of movies that I probably watch once every month, or every 2 months. I love it because they all come together.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit of every character, but yeah, I'm actually pretty pumped. My brother and I were talking in the car, and we're pretty pumped to see this new Spider-Man movie that just came out. So hopefully we can get to the movie theater tomorrow.
Right on. Have you watched any of the series on Disney, like Hawkeye, any of that stuff?
I haven't seen Hawkeye, but I've seen almost like all the, like Black Widow, Black Panther, the.
Did you see WandaVision?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, you have to. Okay, side story here.
All right.
Sorry, I never seen a thing for Marvel until the 4th episode of WandaVision. My son was watching it, and he was watching it, and I wasn't really paying, but then I started paying attention. I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "It's WandaVision." I was like, "Oh." So I was like, by the end of it, I was like, all right, we got to go back and watch the first 3 episodes because I need to I need to know what's going on. And then he's like, it's part of the Marvel. And I was like, what? And then he was telling me all about now I've watched every single movie and everything to do it. And I became obsessed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So big Marvel fan here.
Yeah, I definitely need to. I know, like on Disney, of course I pay for the Disney app, but I actually don't watch it that much. And so I probably need to scope out what's going on that app and see what other kind of new stuff they've got on there.
Absolutely. Anyway, on to your career. Let's get on to your career and stop talking about Marvel.
All righty.
So tell us when and where you got your start in the game.
Yeah. Starts with T-ball, right? It's everyone's story. Yep. You're out there, playing some T-ball, and you're playing with the boys, and you just want to be better than the boys. And then you get better than the boys, and, they end up saying, oh, well, I'm going to go play baseball. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I'm sticking with fast pitch. And, growing up out here in Arizona, it's competitive out here. You're playing like year round, so it's exciting. And my first competitive club team was the Arizona Cats, and played with them for basically like middle school through most of high school. And then I finished my club career on the Hot Shots out of Phoenix, and that was exciting to reconnect with some teammates who I had played with a little bit earlier, like when I was way younger. And then that team was really, really cool because I think at one point we had like 10 girls who were going to go play in the Big Ten.
Wow.
And so we had like someone, we had Wisconsin, Minnesota, Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan. Like there's just so many. It was cool when I went out to Wisconsin, because then, springtime rolls around and Big Ten play happens. I'm like, I feel like I know like some, little piece of home that I get to play every weekend. And so that was a lot of fun. And then packed my stuff up after I finished high school and went out to the Midwest and truly learned what fall colors were, and learned, what real snow was for multiple months at a time. It's just not, it's not there, November and December, when you come back after winter break, it's still there.
Yeah.
So,
so I'm guessing your mom and aunts were huge influences on you growing up. Of course, they played on the Canadian national team.
yeah, it was, you're like kind of set up. You see pictures in your household and you hear stories and all that stuff. And you're just like, man, I want to be part of that. I want to do cool things. And, to have them be able to share kind of a lot of those moments with me definitely had a strong influence on, me wanting to keep playing, me wanting to, make the Team Canada team and, just get out there and, softball city where they host the Canada Cup. That is just like that. I feel like that truly almost hits home for me, even though I didn't grow up playing in BC, but to be out there, be on that field and to have, my family in the stands is really, really special and really drives me to now, still want to play softball because I'm like, man, I got to get back to softball city, got to get back to Canada Cup, got to let the fam still watch. And then, with some of my younger cousins playing ball now, it's exciting to still be out there and, kind of hopefully pave the path for them to eventually get out there. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, was there any coaches growing up in Arizona that, played a big part in your development?
Yeah, well, mom was the coach for most of the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Rightfully so.
Yeah. But, I got to give, excuse me, a couple shout outs. Charlie Riesco, really great family friend, just quality guy and, always wanted to help me out, help me perform to my highest level. And same with Dean Meisenheimer. Those two guys are, pretty still very, in my face now of, hey, KJ, what's going on? I saw you playing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, stop. You're not my coaches anymore, So it's nice to, and then a high school coach, Renee Lopez that's a monumental time in a, young girl's life right there. 'Cause you're trying to navigate high school and do all that. And so I was really grateful to have such a great, coach and just to have coaches who know the game. Right. And those three guys that I named, they're definitely special. And I'm very grateful to have had them a part of this journey.
Awesome. Now, can you remember what age you were when you were like, this is something I could really dedicate my life to?
Sorry, I had to make
man, I feel like I knew, right? I knew I wanted to play college softball, but I didn't know, what the international game was going to look like and all that stuff. And so I want to say, once I got to college and then in 2015, I played on the junior team and had an absolute blast and then got invited to the senior team tryout and got to connect with a lot of those girls. And I think then after getting, just your first little sniff in international ball, you're like, wow, I feel like I could play this forever. And it kind of comes full circle because you are watching, these teams play. I'm seeing, Rafter and J-Sal playing, into their 30s. And I'm seeing Stacey Porter for the Aussies and, Ueno and Yamada for Japan. I'm like, holy cow, what is driving them to keep playing for so long? I don't know if I'd right. And I feel like I'm kind of in that limbo now where I've had that a little bit of taste of, playing internationally. And I'm like, I get it now. So I feel like that was kind of the turning point there where I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to play past college and for, quite some time after that.
Excellent. Speaking about college, tell us about your recruiting process. Was it always going to be Wisconsin or were there others in the mix as well?
Yeah. No, there was definitely some others in the mix. And honestly, what got me was I'd gone up, I'd done a little camp and the Wisconsin coaches were there and they were like, we'd love to have you out. And I was like, I remember getting in the car after the camp and talking to my mom, I was like, where even is Wisconsin? Like, that state starts with a W. Like, that's so, like, what? And when we had gone out, and there's like this huge recruiting tournament that happens in Chicago. And I remember we were going out there, and I had emailed Coach Healy, and I was like, hey, we'll be in Chicago. Like, if we fly out a day early, we could drive down to Madison, see the campus. And they were actually playing a doubleheader against Nebraska that day. And so we were invited to come out there, and I had no idea like what I was getting myself. I was like, what's it going to look like? Okay, we're like front row, to a Big Ten game. This is pretty exciting. And the first thing I remember, we walked into the stadium, and my jaw just dropped, and I was like, oh, Mom, there's a giant snow pile behind the left field fence. And that's where like the campus dumps all the excess snow. And I was just looking at her. I was like, I can't play. It's so cold. Like, there's people out. I'm like bundled up, 3 jackets, wearing a toque and everything. And I was like, there's girls out there not even in Under Armour. I was like, Mom, I'm not cut out for this. Like, get out of here. But, and we got the tour, and just like the vibes and the campus, and just like the love. And as a college player, like, all you want to do is like, you want to just feel truly wanted. Right. And Coach Healy did that and opened up her arms and, her knowledge and all that stuff. And it just was like a feeling. It was so hard to take over. I was like, I feel like I need to come here. I feel like it'll make me a better person. I get a chance to get away from home, right? Everyone is sometimes so worried about staying near home because that's what we're used to, right? That's our comfort zone. But I remember saying to myself, well, if I hate it after 4 years, I'll just come home, right? Like, it's only, and, lo and behold, I loved it. I stayed an extra 2 years and worked a little bit as a volunteer with the team. And honestly, the only thing that truly pushed me home was when I got home from Halifax in 2020, I was like, okay, this quarantine thing's real. Like, we're going to be in our houses way longer. And so I looked at my husband. I was like, we need to get back to Arizona, because if we're going to be stuck somewhere inside, we want to be in Arizona, because then at least we can go outside.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck in Halifax. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So, yeah, so we got out of there, and literally it took us like a month, and we packed up and we drove home. And I definitely miss Madison. And I always say, everyone's like, I can't believe you came back home. And I'm like, man, if I could have the city of Madison with the weather of Tucson, I was like, that would be the best city to live in the world. It's so amazing.
I've been to Madison. My first ever ISC Worlds was, I played in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, it is.
Great city.
A phenomenal city. Yeah. I've got nothing aside from it being a little chilly. I've got nothing bad ever to say about Madison.
Awesome. So was there a big life adjustment for you? The first few months there? Yeah,
I think the biggest kind of adjustment was not necessarily like living in the cold, right? You can bundle up, stay inside and do that. But like playing in the cold, I truly have never played in cold weather, really. Like, it's a little, we think it's chilly out here, and around Christmas time and whatnot, but being able to feel the bat and being able to throw the ball, not being able to feel my hand is something I came very, very quick to realize that that's something you have to train. You can't just like show up. And so I think that was kind of the biggest, thing, life moment in like the sports world. And then, on the outside, and going to class and just like living, a life. I rode a moped for 4 years. So being able to figure out how you can bundle yourself up enough, have your giant snowboarding gloves, you've got your helmet and all that stuff, how little to no skin can show. So when you're on the moped and the wind chill is hitting you, you got to figure out how to really bundle yourself up so you can get around campus without freezing.
Okay, wait. You rode a moped around Wisconsin for 4 years?
4 years. That's like the way, like no one does. I know it's crazy. No one does cars out there. Like some people have cars if you're like kind of close, right? And then you want to like drive home, but like all the athletes and there's not like free car parking, anywhere, but tons of free moped parking, at places. Yeah. So it was so much fun, but I remember that first winter and you start driving, you gas your moped and you're like, oh, my fingers feel frozen. So I'm like, okay, I need some like serious snow gloves. Right. So of course I'm like upgrading my snowboarding gloves. And then, when you've got your helmet on, your neck kind of shows a little bit. So I'm like, okay, man, we need like a neck halter thing. But yeah.
So did it always start? Like, was there days where you're like, I don't know if this thing's going to start?
Yes. Oh yeah. You got to be a master at the kickstart if you, which is fun, but a lot of the time, so it's really just like freshman year when you're at the dorms. Unfortunately, there's no like inside parking, but like at my apartments that I lived in the last 4 years, there was like underground heated parking. Oh, okay. So that's nice. So you're never worried about, that. It's when the freshman year, when you're there and the moped's outside the whole time, and then you wake up for lift and it's 5:30 and you're going out and there's some fresh snow and you're like, okay, half my moped's covered, and you're like kicking the snow off, trying to find the kickstart and whatnot. But yeah, there's, if there's a will, there's a way. You just got to show it some love and it'll start most of the time for you.
That's crazy. I'm trying to picture, like, that would be half dangerous with snow though, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Some teams have some pretty strict rules. And, if we wake up and they're like, no scooting today, you're either walking, and that campus is pretty big, so walking is tough. Yeah. Or you're taking the bus. But of course, when it snows, no one actually wants to scoot because you're right, it is a little scary, a little dangerous. So then everyone's taking the bus, right? So then you're like, holy cow, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so here's the one I like to ask past NCAA guests. Like, how's your memory? How's your memory?
It depends.
Okay. Do you remember your first official regular season game?
My regular season, like not Big Ten play, or like just
first game.
I know we were at ASU, and I want to say it was like Cal State.
Good North. For you. Good for you.
Okay, good. I was like, I want to say it was like CSUN or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome. Cal State Northridge. First hit. Do you remember your first hit?
I can tell you it wasn't in that game.
Yep, you're correct.
Yeah, I can tell you what's in there.
0 for 4 in that first game.
Oh yeah.
You got it in your second game.
I was gonna say, I feel like it was against Utah Valley.
Yep.
But I can't remember what the hit itself was. I would assume something through the 5-6 hole, something to that side, because I was slapping a little bit more back then.
double down the left field line in the first inning.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, yeah, last one.
Fun game. That was tough.
First home run.
I do know this one. I want to say it was off Sarah G against in Minnesota.
Nope. Did you get one off Sarah?
I did get one off Sarah my freshman year.
Wow.
I didn't have that many home runs freshman year, and I had 3 of them at Rutgers.
Yes,
so.
That is true. That is true. Okay.
So if it wasn't off Sarah, it would have had to have been at Illinois then. It
was against Illinois. 7th inning.
Okay.
First half of doubleheader, April 18th.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I couldn't remember which one came first, Illinois or Sarah. Man.
That's great. Okay, speaking of Sarah is actually the last one from your guys' Canadian Olympic team that I need to have on the podcast.
Oh, good luck, man. She's so busy.
I know. I've sent her like a few messages. She's got back to me and said, she'd love to come on, but we can never like get our schedules to line up. And it's like, one of these days we're going to get you on.
Sure. Yeah. She's a real treat. She's like one of my best friends. She was one of my bridesmaids in my wedding. So we're very, very close. But yeah, talking to her during the week, I'm like, hey, Sarah. And then she responds to me like 4 days later. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I didn't need anything on like Tuesday. It's Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So after that, when I was going through, coming up with finding all these tidbits on you, I noticed around the time that you hit that first home run, you were starting to get more consistent in your hitting. Did you find there were some growing pains that freshman season, like early on?
Yeah, it was, it's just like eye-opening, right? And I think you put so much pressure on yourself as a freshman because you want to start, you want to play every game, you want to perform, you want to like do so good for the team and kind of like all this stuff. And right, you go up there and I'm like, okay, well, I'm swinging. I don't know why I'm not hitting, right? Like kind of thing. And, after a certain amount of time, then someone says something and you're like, man, am I really doing that bad? Like, right. And then you kind of think about it and you're like, holy cow. But I think just kind of like riding that out was the biggest thing that like helped me perform so much better in Big Ten play. Cause I think I just understood like, okay, preseason is preseason. Then there's Big Ten season. Right. Then there's postseason. Like you can break it down. You don't have to think about it as all one, kind of jumble of games. You can like break it down and truly, just focus in on one game and then one series. You're not like thinking about the whole the season as a whole kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that same year, you'd be named to the Canadian national junior team, which, you guys competed at WBSCs in OKC. How special was it to wear the red and white for the first time?
It was, I actually was at my mom's house the other day when we were pulling out the Christmas tree. And so we were in one of the closets down the kids' hallway. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my jersey from the junior team. I forgot, like we were able to keep it. And it was just so cool of like thinking back and reflecting of like that first time putting on the jersey and putting on shorts and not wearing pants. It was something special. And just to kind of have that be, the first moment, and to think like how far I've come from that moment is crazy. Cause it feels a long time ago, but like when in reality, like I'm like, it was only like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. But in actuality, I mean, I'm going to bring it up later on. I mean, that when you guys qualified for the Olympics in 2019, that feels like it was 5 years ago now for some reason.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Like, I don't know. Time it's weird. But
yeah.
So
it's good.
What do you remember about that tournament in OKC? I mean, that had to be, pretty eye opening for you.
Yeah. Well, one, I remember it being hot and humid. And I was like, man, people play in humidity? Like, this is horrible.
Being from Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, man, and everyone's like, oh, KJ, like you play in the hot. I'm like, I play in the dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I remember being out there and, all of us had really just met each other, aside from a couple people who, knew each other from their province, but to just like wing this team together and, go out there, and which is so crazy to think. Cause like, you're facing these teams, USA. And then at the time Megan King was playing for Puerto Rico. And I was like, man, these are some tough opponents over here. And they got Kelly Barnhill throwing for the US. And it was just like, holy cow, like this is so like we've been playing with each other for a couple weeks and they want, and so it was awesome. And, we went out and we competed. And I think at the time, we unfortunately lost to Puerto Rico in the bronze game. So we got fourth. But I think that was like at the time the juniors team's highest finish. And so just kind of like another stepping stone of like Canada softball going in the right direction, you know, just kind of climbing and eventually working to the podium.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's cool because a lot of those junior girls I got to kind of connect with and then still play, you know, a little bit on the senior team with some of them. And then, you know, still friends today with a lot of them.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. I mean, that tournament, I mean, that had to have helped your confidence going into your sophomore season, though, because, I mean, you went off that season hitting 411 in your sophomore year. So, I mean, it had to benefit for you.
Yeah, it's right. And it's just playing, like, you know, playing more games, having more, you know, people believe that, like, you're pretty good. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is good. I needed this. And so I also think, you know, it helped sophomore year. I realized I probably wasn't like the fastest slapper. So I should probably start hitting away now. And I, you know, started hitting away a little bit more. And that was a lot of fun to really come into that.
Oh, imagine being able to swinging for the fence instead of, you know, trying to, you know, hit it over the shortstop's head. Yeah, that's a little more fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'd have an amazing 4 years at Wisconsin, setting some records along the way. What's some of the memories that stick out for you from your time there?
I mean, I think the first memory that sticks out is just like the people. People that I played with, you know, some of those girls were my bridesmaids. Some of those, you know, girls, a lot of those girls were, you know, at my wedding, and, you know, always some of the first people to just like reach out of, hey, you know, congratulations, you qualified for the Olympics. Hey, you know, we're doing this, and just kind of with a lot of those girls is second to none. Just like some of my favorite memories about being out there. And then just Coach Healy and, you know, Coach C and Coach V, even today, just, I probably talk to Yvette like, you know, once a month and just check in. And I think that kind of stands out and speaks to like, you know, yes, was it good that I, you know, performed for them for, you know, some time, but, you know, they still, you know, care about me as a person and what I'm doing, you know, in the softball world. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that really sticks out and just speaks to, you know, the culture at, you know, around Wisconsin and whatnot.
Absolutely. How emotional was that final game against Oregon State for you?
God, it was brutal.
Imagine.
We're just not playing good. So tired, just so bummed because, you know, we had played Bama earlier and we were in that game. And I remember like we had scored like 2 runs or whatever. And everyone's like, no one has scored off Bama in like a regional in like 3 years, you know, some crazy amount of years. Like they haven't given up a run in a regional. And I was like, what? Like, what? Okay. Like we, you know, and then we're sitting in this lightning delay and, you know, or this rain delay, you know, whatever they call it. And it just was like, you know, we were just right there and we just, you know, it's tough, right? That end of the season, it's you got to keep like climbing that hump. You can't like think about it as the end of the season and then your body gets a break. You know, you got to almost like push a little bit harder. And, you know, we had pushed as hard as we could, but unfortunately, you know, just came up short. And yeah, it was tough.
Oh, imagine.
Sucks losing.
Had to be. Yeah, absolutely. It has to be. And, you know, I mean, you dedicated 4 years of your life to Wisconsin, and, you know, to have it end, it's definitely emotional. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on to the Canadian national team. Did you make your debut at the 2017 or 2018 Canada Cup with them?
17.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how special was that being named a team, especially, you know, with your family's history with it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I feel like 2017 was like this whirlwind. We were like out in Toronto for this camp. And then if you get named to the team, you end up staying. And if you don't get named to the team, you're going home. And so it was kind of like, oh, like this thing. And I remember sitting down and they were like, okay, like we're going to bring you on, you know, the team. And I was like, oh man, I got to cancel my flight. Okay. I got whatever and stay in. And I think we went to OKC first and then went to Canada Cup and at Oklahoma City, first time on the team and one of the youngest ones out there. I was just like taking in everything, wasn't playing, a lot. And then there were a couple like injuries. And so I had got a little bit more playing time. And then when we showed up to Canada Cup, they were like, okay, KJ, we're going to have you hit leadoff. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Here you go.
I was like hitting in the 9-hole last weekend. Like, what's okay?
Oh, wow.
And I feel like just kind of that like snippet right there of like, man, okay, like they do see something in me. Like, I wasn't just named to the team because, I have family who have played on, this team before, all that stuff. And I feel like that was kind of a really big turning point for like a confidence boost right there of like, yeah, I can play at this level. I want to perform at this level. I want to play with these girls and, we want to win some games kind of thing. So.
Well, I mean, talk about, riding high. I mean, the following year in 2018, you were tournament's top hitter at the Canada Cup. So, I mean, your confidence,
I'm telling you, Randy, Softball City has a special place in my heart.
I'd say.
I don't know what it is about that field, but it's just like, I get so excited to play in front of some family and that tournament, even like growing up, just going to watch that tournament to finally be able to play in the tournament. I was like, here we go. All right, here we go. So yeah.
That's awesome. So what how much family would you have there? I mean, you'd definitely have quite a bit there, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Both my aunts, live there and then my grandparents live there.
Right.
My mom's parents. And then I have 5 cousins that live out there who, I'm very, very close with. And then, and they're just, I think that's like one of the things that I just like love about my family so much, right? Like, okay, Kelsey has a game today. Everyone's coming. So it's like, okay, we need like 11 tickets, right? Like how, and so I think that's also just like what makes that tournament so exciting. So I'm like, man, I just know how much, especially like for my grandma, she just wears her cute little, my granddaughter is a softball star shirt and it's just super, super, super cute. And I love it.
That's awesome. Okay. I got to talk about the qualifiers that you guys wanted to get to Tokyo. I mean, we touched on a little bit of it. I mean, when Rafter hit that home run, I mean, there must have been like, the emotions must have been like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to the Olympic Games.
It was, and just like that, it was Rafter. Like watching it happen, I feel like we all just like, I feel like we had like a brawl almost to get out of the dugout of like who's gonna greet her first. Like just absolutely just like swarming home plate. Like it was the like craziest home run, right? But it was Rafter being Rafter doing Rafter thing, just like boom, nice long ball to left center. And it was just like, speechless. And then you're just looking around and the stands are blowing up, just so excited. And it was super, super cool moment to be a part of.
No doubt. I mean, I had Rafter on here and I asked her about that home run and she said she felt like she was going to hit the home run to end it. And I mean,
that's so,
well, I mean, it's Rafter. Of course, she says she's gonna do it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. No problem. I'll do it.
Yeah. So, you guys qualify for Tokyo. Take us through that roller coaster of emotion over the next year and a half, because I mean, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was wild. I think. So we like show up, right, and we're in Halifax for our centralized training. We're there for like 10 weeks. Like I feel like we're there for, honestly, I felt like I was there for 5 years. That's how just like felt, right? But we were there for like, I think like eight weeks or something. And of course, right, like heart of the winter in Halifax. So it's cold, it's wet, it's snowing. It's just absolutely just like miserable outside. But on the inside at the dome that we're training at, it's like we're doing something not so miserable in here. Right. So leave all that stuff out, literally outside the dome, get your butt inside the dome, and we're getting better. We're trying to do something really, really cool. And when we got home, right when we were leaving Halifax, I remember having a team meeting and someone had brought up like, what's going on with this, whatever virus or, whatever. And Coach Smith had addressed it and was like, oh, it's only affecting little parts of the US, like shouldn't be, like we should be fine. We'll see you guys in like 8 days in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
And we get on the plane, we get home, and literally like the next day they were like shutting down airports, doing all this stuff. And they were like, oh, good thing the kids who were coming back to the States were like, good thing you guys left when you did. Otherwise you would have been stuck. I was like, oh my God, what? Stuck in Halifax?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I live here and I would hate, like, you know what I mean? Like,
gosh.
come on,
Yeah.
that would be terrible.
Beautiful place, but holy cow, it's cold out there.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine like being something, like, especially with you from Arizona, having to stay a winter here. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So we get home, right? And then like a couple days later, okay, we're going to push. We're going to like meet in Fresno. Actually, they're a week later. So get a little bit longer at home. Okay. We're not going to go to Fresno. We're just going to, I can't remember where we're going to go X, Y, Z, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay, cool. And then we start, seeing stuff on the news and all this stuff. And they're talking about the games and all. And it was just like, oh, why are they talking about, the games when, we're still like, 3-4 months away. Okay. And then all of a sudden I just remember, getting ready for bed and getting this like notification on my phone. And it was like, Canada has decided not to send any teams to the Tokyo Games. And I was like, what? So
it's like a gut punch.
Oh my gosh. So I'm like, oh, how real is this real? Sometimes you never know, like with what's going on in the news of, did someone say something, get misinterpreted,
right.
All that stuff. And I just remember the group chat absolutely just like blowing up. And we had like an emergency call, and it was addressed, and it was very true that Canada was not going to send any teams. And so there was probably like, 24, 48 hours of just like staring at the ceiling, like just not doing anything, just wait.
Yeah.
So it's going to like, is it going to happen? Are other teams not going to go? Like, what's happening kind of thing? And then like 48 hours later, after just being like numb and confused and just like truly not knowing, like, all the emotions you're feeling, they had announced that they were going to postpone the games. And it was just like this, like, like relief kind of off the shoulders of like, okay, if it gets postponed, a year or whatever. And we didn't know like how long it was going to get postponed. So they weren't sure. They were like, maybe we'll play it in March. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe and
right.
we were like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay, what's happening? And when they had decided it was going to be pushed a year, it was like, man, it was kind of like, holy cow, I'm going to do this for another year. And then you kind of question yourself of like, gosh, like, can my body do this?
Yeah,
for like
really.
another year? Although, yes, right. Like at the time when all this, I'm, 23 years old, whatever. I'm like, I'm like, okay, well, I feel pretty good, about my body, but, I'm thinking about my other teammates who, are in their 30s and they were talking about, this being their last ride. And I'm like, oh man, like, are they going to stick around? And so I think when everyone, kind of like re-signed up and was like, let's do this. If we're going to do it, like, we're going to go big. And it was so good for, obviously for preparation and all that stuff, but just like the bond and the friendship, right? Not just like the teammateship,
yeah,
but the friendships that were created over the last year. Oh, truly, truly special. And I don't think that, I think we, would have performed really, really well, but I don't think it would have been like the like true like blood, sweat, and tears, like kind of that we felt in like that last game of just like that,
right.
The dog pile. It was just like Danielle threw the pitch straight. Like, I'm just like crying already. Like, I'm not even hugging anyone yet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, yeah, we had Coach Smith on here. I think it was probably a few months before you guys were leaving, and he figured the pandemic was the best thing to happen for your guys' team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, team chemistry goes a long way, doesn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and it's crazy to have been on other teams with like best friends, and to be like, yeah, I actually, right, like, not, we're all really great friends on Team Canada, but I think about like a couple of the Badger teams that I played on, like we all, like, we're still like best friends today. Not that I'm not, I'm really great friends with everyone on Team Canada, but just like the difference of chemistry.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't have that with like, people who I consider are like my best friends from the Badgers, which is just like crazy. And that's just like how special, everyone is on Team Canada.
Yeah. Was it weird playing in an empty stadium over there?
It was weird. Like, I remember the first game, just, when it was playing Mexico, I'm like, oh, we've played Mexico so many times. Like, and so we're just like playing Mexico, and, you're so into the game and so focused and so present. And then you kind of, come out of presence a little bit, during, in between innings and all that stuff. And you kind of like, look somewhere to just like clear your mind. And you're just like, oh, there's the Olympic rings right there in center field. Oh, it says Tokyo 20. Oh my God. Okay. We're here. Like, hello, my friend, we are here. Like, get it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think like that was kind of and I think being able to have those reminders, like the rings in center field, and like looking out and seeing Frankie, stand out there on the rings, was like, okay, we've made, we've been through some not fun things, but we've made it. And there was just so many cameras, honestly, that I think that was the most like amazing thing. It was like every like corner you looked at, you're like, oh, there's like, the little black camera. So it almost was like crazy, because it was like, after a tough at bat or like tough, you're like, I just need like a minute to breathe. But it's just like, you're almost feeling like you're being like overwatched a little bit.
Right. I mean, for the Olympics, God, they'd have to have 10,000 cameras in that stadium for the Olympics.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Man. But I told like Erica and Janet when they were on after the Olympics, and actually I had like Kaya Parnaby from Australia on, and I told them, I said, the coolest thing, watching it on TV for me was being able to hear you guys talking. Like, with a crowd there, you never would have heard, any talking at all. And I thought, for somebody watching the game, even if it was somebody watching for the first time, being like, oh wow, getting to hear the intricacies of what you guys are saying to each other and all that. I thought that came across pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess that would be. I didn't even think about that with the fans.
Yeah.
Kind of the dugout mics, you don't really hear what's going on.
No, that's right. So I gotta ask about Athletes Unlimited. That must have been, such a blessing to come along last summer in the middle of all that pandemic.
Yeah, it was sweet. They put it together, and I won't lie, when, the Olympics didn't happen, and then AU's talking, like, no, we're doing it. I'm like, they're not pulling, like, we're not going to be able to pull this off. Like, what? Okay. Then when we went there and just absolutely kicked butt for 6 weeks and lived in a true bubble. And, I think there was maybe like one positive test from like a crew, like not even from and it was like, oh, well, you can do this, and you can, play at a high level and train in a bubble. And so I think that was kind of a turning point, and like, hey, what if we, do this with, Team Canada and stuff, and we can, train together more than, what we're doing, what we normally don't do. Cause a lot of time we're decentralized, and AU, I mean, they kickstarted that for sure. They were like, yeah, you can play high level sports and live in a bubble. And that was cool. And, playing with a lot of those girls that, we saw over there and played against in Tokyo, it just kind of almost made Tokyo that much more special too. Cause it was just like, people here.
So I found the whole setup like just awesome. Like, I mean, how, the whole coming up with the point structure and everything for it. That's awesome. Like, and it's going to keep growing. I feel like, this past summer, which, you guys finally got to have fans in there. How was that, by the way?
Yeah, it was so fun. And just like the interaction and and that's like the beauty of sports, right? Yes, do we love the sport and playing it, but being able to perform it in front of young fans who want to be like in our shoes one day just like makes it that much more special. And that's something that, Athletes Unlimited does so well. They can just like pull everyone in, right? All age groups and just like all people who just like love sports, and being able to, put on a good performance for out there in Rosemont. And the Rosemont is an awesome place to host AU. So it was a really, really great environment to be in.
Yeah. And I like the concept of, having people play for certain charities, right? Like that's a great thing.
Yeah. I really, really, I played for the Pink Fund this year, and so it's breast cancer awareness and whatnot. And so it's cool to really kind of dive into, across. So it's kind of cool to volleyball and us, Jordan Larson, who, won AU, was the champion at AU volleyball, and, see her, I'm like, we're playing for the same cause. And it's kind of cool because I feel like so I feel like you kind of like learn about other people and like, their outside life of sports and like what they do, what they care about, what they're passionate about. And I think that's like what's so awesome about the causes, because you can truly pick it, right? Like pick something you're passionate about. They'll find something for you. So
yeah, for sure. Now, before we get into the last thing, player association on here, I got to ask you about the coaching change with the national team. How that's my point is, I think it's going to be a huge benefit for you guys going forward. Having Rafter there, having Jen there. I mean, I think big things are in store for Team Canada.
It's exciting because as great, Coach Smith, like phenomenal, took us to, somewhere where Team Canada's never been. But I won't lie when I say I'm excited that, us, the U.S., with Name and Heather Tar, just like having female coaches is exciting for, our world in softball. And so I'm super, super excited to be able to, suit up and lace up for Raptor and JSal, and just to like truly see, where this team can go. And it's going to be a very interesting year, right? In the international world. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a building year. And I'm like, I don't know if it's going to, like, we've got a lot of people coming back, and, luckily, Raf and Jen have been around. And so they know kind of how, everyone's performance, kind of like peak performance, should kind of look like. So that's really exciting for them to be able to build something for us to like get into that peak performance mode kind of under their wings.
Absolutely. It's I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thing we end the podcast with, it's called Player Association. I'm going to throw out some names to you, and
all right, you
can say as much or as little about them as you want.
Okay.
All right. First one, Brooke Wyderski.
Brooke. Oh my gosh, my girl. Brooke is one of my best friends. She caught me by surprise. I've had the same friends for a really, really long time. And so when Brooke transferred in, and I was like, who is this girl? Like, she just hilarious, just wears her heart on her sleeve, and just, one of the most loyal friends, I have, and, I love her to death.
That's awesome. Next, we mentioned her earlier, Sarah G.
Yep. Team Canada teammate, one of my best friends, got to compete against her in 10, would like to say, you know, had a couple pretty good hits off of her. No, no, Sarah's great. I'm bummed that, you know, we live a little bit further apart, because I remember in 2019, I lived in BC with my family out there for like 5 months, and to be able to hang with Sarah on a regular basis, I mean, she's special and she makes me laugh. You know I can trust her, and she just, you know, always puts a smile on my face. So I love her.
Awesome. Last one, another good friend of yours, teammate, Victoria Hayward.
Vic. Oh man, she's my work wife. I always joke with her. I'm like, man, like, so since November 6th, 2020 to November 6th, 2021, I was like, I've spent more days with you, Victoria, than I have with my own husband. So her marriage, which is so funny, and she was, lived with her in some of the Airbnbs in Florida. She was my roommate. We shared, our corner room with the best view, you know, at the Village. And, oh man, like, she was like my idol for so long growing up. And it's cool to like really call her like a best friend now. And instead of like, not that I don't look at her like, you know, she's, you know, this like command, you know, in softball, and just like this stellar player, stellar leader, stellar athlete, stellar, you know, female athlete. She's really taken me under her wing, and I'm super, super grateful for everything that she's done for me. I definitely would not be where I am today without her.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Well, Kels, gotta thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on the show.
Of course.
Big part of the game here in Canada. And, you know, we wish you nothing but best moving forward, and happy holidays to you and Matt.
Thanks, Randy.
All right. Take care, Kels.
All right. Thank you.
All right, kids. Time to get in bed. Santa's coming soon. Okay. Can you read a book? All right, just one story, all right? Here we go.
On a night so silent night, stay by the fire, baby, it's so cold outside.
'Tis the season.
It snows, it's already 10 below. We find the love out here on this Christmas night. The bells are ringing, ringing.
Okay, we'll grab the decorations. Don't forget tradition. Baby, it's cold outside. You need to get your mittens. Hang the mistletoe and write your Christmas wishes. It's better to give than receive. Show the kids the difference. Cause this year has been a tough one. I'm just trying to celebrate and spend it with my loved ones. Spread some cheer, pouring festive beer. I appreciate the blessings I was blessed with here. Uncle Chris and Aunt Lee are reminiscing on the front porch. Little Tay-Tay trying to build another snow fort. I hear the church bells ringing. I'll be there Christmas Eve with my family all singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I said we be all singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Say.
On a night so silent night, stay by the fire, baby, it's so cold outside. We're singing let it snow, 'cause it's already 10 below. We find the love out here on this Christmas night. The bells are ringing, ringing.
Okay, well I'll be ready with the lights on. Got the decorations up, it's taking me all night long. Log on the fire, put on my ugly sweater. The children
Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again.